All right, talking about Nigerians, I did mention it whilst kickstarting the show about relegation, sadness, happiness, mixed fortunes basically for Nigerian players. Super Eagles midfielder Alex Iwobi was on the ecstatic side as Everton escaped relegation on a dramatic final day of the English Premier League season. Everton needed to get all 3 points to ensure that they stay in the top division of English football, no matter what happened at Leeds and Leicester. So those were the 3 teams who still ran the risk of getting knocked down into the championship. Everton's nerves were calmed in the 57th minute by Abdoulaye Doucouré, who released an unstoppable shot to get them a 1-0 lead. After that, Sean Dyche, all he had to do with his Everton team was to make sure that they kept their advantage. And of course, that meant that they would keep their place in the Premier League. And of course, they did go about their job tenaciously. The win against Leicester, the win made Leicester's 2-1 win, against West Ham meaningless, as they became the second team after Blackburn Rovers to win the title and then go down. Blackburn, of course, winning the title in 1995 and going down back into the championship in what was a crazy season. I think it was a season where Nigerian striker Yakubu Aigbeni was in that Blackburn side. And since then, they've not been able to make themselves, relevant enough to come back into the Premier League. We hope that we find Leicester on the other end of that. Anyway, that means now that Nigerian players, Kelechi Iheanacho and Wilfred Ndidi, will be playing in the second tier of the English Championship next season, unless, of course, either of them, seek transfers. I think that Ndidi is the player who is better than the Championship. Kelechi, yeah, I think so. I think that he's good enough to do a good job for Premier League sides. So maybe they might not be there next season, but at the moment, what it means is that they will be in the Championship. Kelechi was speaking to the media team at Leicester after the game yesterday. Kelechi Iheanacho with a very forlorn look on his face right there. Looks like he's going to cry, right? Anyway, really, really unfortunate. But Leicester's story is one that got to the top. Before they got to the top, a lot of people seem to forget the magic that they did this season before. Under Nigel Pearson, they were down and out. The position they were in going into the new year was a position where only one team had ever stayed up in the Premier League, having been 20th in the league at the start of January. That was West Brom, the West Brom team under Harry Redknapp that had Kanu Nwankwo also in that side. They were the only team ever to have ever done it. Leicester pulled the chest out of the fire. They stayed up in the Premier League on the final day. And then just a few weeks later, the owner of Leicester City sacked that manager. People were protesting in front of the King Power Stadium. And then the next day, he announced Claudio Ranieri. There were more protests. Why did you bring Ranieri? Why did you sack Nigel Pearson? Long story short, at the end of the season, Leicester are Premier League champions. A 1 in a 1 million chance of achieving that. And they achieved it, literally putting the thread in the tiny hole of the diddle, and were named Premier League champions. But just 7 years down the line, after having had, played in the Champions League 6 years ago, they were cup champions just a few years ago, played in the Europa League last year, and now Leicester are going to be playing in the Championship. Really, really unfortunate. But of course, it tells the story of football. Like you just saw Kelechi Iheanacho describing there, with who he was speaking with. Football is a game of ups and downs, and right now it looks like it's downs for Leicester. Anyway, Leeds United had no hopes of survival after already surrendering to a 1-4 thrashing at home against Spurs yesterday. It means that that's Leeds, alongside Leicester and Southampton, will be playing in the lower division next season. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Taiwo Awoniyi continued his unstoppable form in front of goal when he netted Nottingham Forest's only goal in a 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. Awoniyi kept the away fans in good spirits, raced onto a fantastic ball from Morgan Gibbs-White, twisted, turned, before, of course, firing into the bottom corner just on the half-hour mark. At the Emirates, Arsenal defeated Wolves 5-0 with the departing Granit Xhaka netting twice. Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus, and Jakob Kiwior scored the other goals. Relegated Southampton drew 4-4 with Liverpool. United defeated Fulham by 2-1. Chelsea drew 1-1 against Newcastle in Frank Lampard's final game as interim manager, and Aston Villa beat Brighton 2-1, while Brentford did the double against Man City, defeating them by 1-0 without Ivan Toney. And of course, in the aftermath of all of those games, Chelsea have come out today to officially announce Mauricio Pochettino as the new manager of the club. Interesting weekend, interesting final day in the Premier League, loads of goals.